We created containers for each of the research questions. We went through the transcript, identified information that is significant, created containers under each of the research questions, and now this is the final product. Hello everyone, my name is Philip Edu. I'm going to show you how to use NVivo to analyze your qualitative data. This presentation is for those who are using Mac. So I'm going to use NVivo 14, the Mac version. That's what we're going to use to do this demonstration. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how to do the coding process, identify significant information from the data, and develop codes so that you can use those codes to address your research question that you have. I'm going to show you the data for this demonstration. We're going to use the data about burnout among primary healthcare physicians. So assuming that you interview 5 participants and you collected demographic information, you ask them about their experience of burnout, and you receive a lot of information, and you have your research question here. What are the causes of burnout among primary healthcare physicians? And then you also want to look into what could be done to reduce the burnout among primary healthcare physicians. These are the research questions that you have. What do you have to do next? The next thing that you have to do is to open NVivo. But before we open NVivo to start the coding process, it's very important to clean your data, prepare your data for the analysis, right? In this case, we have 5 transcripts here. And let me open one of them for you to see. So this is the first participant transcript. We have the demographic information and the interview questions and participant response. Make sure that you don't have any identifiable information. You can give them an ID. In this case, I gave them P1. So first you have to prepare your data. So I have my data prepared in Word document. And then the next thing that you have to think about is your demographic information. You have an option to send demographic information to NVivo, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, for me, I have my demographic information here. Let me share with you. I have them in Excel spreadsheet. So you have 2 options. You can enter demographic information manually into NVivo, or you can put them in Excel spreadsheet and then you can upload it into NVivo. I'm going to show you these 2 options. And you don't have to send demographic information to NVivo if you plan not to do further analysis and look into maybe the kinds of themes that were developed and also who are connected to the theme based on the demographic, maybe based on gender, work experience, or ethnicity. You can just send your transcript there and start the analysis, develop codes and themes to address your research question that you have. So that's very important for you to note. Now that our data is ready, you have to make sure that you close the document or the data that you're going to upload to NVivo. When you are ready, what you have to do is that you open NVivo. And you can see here that this one is NVivo 14 and it's for Mac. If you are using Windows, I have videos on NVivo for Windows users. This presentation is for Mac users. So when you open NVivo, you can go to create new project and then you give the name to the project. So you have to think about a name that you will remember, and you can go back to your computer and find it. For the purpose of this demonstration, I can say project 5, and then you can copy and then put the same name here if you want to, or it can be a different name, but I always want to put the same name there. And you have an option to give a description. You don't have to do that. You normally do it if you have a lot of projects and you just want to make sure that you have a description there so that when you open, you know what this project is all about. When you are done, you check autosave project. So this means that when you are working on your project, the system automatically will save the information for you, right? When you are ready, you click on create project. So here it gives you a tour to the software. We don't need that for now, so you cancel it, you close here. Now you can see that we have the workspace of NVivo Mac version. The first thing that you have to do is to import your transcript. How do you do that? You go to import, you click on files, and then you click on document because you are bringing documents, and you look for the transcript that you want to transfer to NVivo. What you have to do is you select the first one, press a command, and select the rest. Right. So when you are done, you click on import, and then it will take few seconds for everything to be imported so that you have all your transcript in NVivo. Now that we have our transcript, what is next? The next step is for us to create containers for each of the transcript. So containers are cases. So you're going to create cases for each of the participants. The reason why you have to create cases is that it helps you to connect demographic information to participant transcript, and also the themes and the codes that you're going to develop, you can also connect them. So think about case as file for each of the participant, and when you open the file, you have all the information about each participant. You have their transcript, you have their code, you have themes, you have demographic information in that file. So we have to create that file for each of the participant. How do you do that? You select the first transcript, and then you press on command and select the rest. So you select all of them, and then you press on control and click and go to create as, and then you click on cases. Now when you go to cases here, you can see that now we have created containers for each of the participants. Another thing that you have to do is to either bring your demographic information through Excel spreadsheet, right? So if you have your demographic information in Excel, you can bring that information into NVivo, right? You have to also make sure that your Excel has been saved as CSV. You have to make sure. Let me go back and show you something first. As we can see here, the demographic information is in Excel is saved as CSV. Make sure that it's saved as CSV so that you'll be able to upload it into NVivo. Before we do the first option, which is uploading the information to NVivo, your demographic information to NVivo, in case you want to enter all the demographic information manually into NVivo, let me show you how to do it. First, you have to go to case classification, and and close this place, and then this is a place that you're going to create the demographic information. But before you start that, you have to create a huge container so that it will house all the demographic information of participants. So we call it new classification. So you press on control and you click and you go to new classification, and here you can type participant demographic. Just help you to label the demographic information that you are going to enter. You can give it a description if you want to. It's not required. And when you are done, you click on done. And now you can see here that we have created a huge container that will house all participant demographic information. But we don't have any demographic variable here, so we have to create those variables. So as you can see here, we have age, gender, years of experience, and ethnicity. It's very important for you to create the variables. In NVivo, variables are called attributes. Make sure that you have clicked attribute so that to show the workspace for attribute. For now, you click on attribute, and what you have to do is to press on control and click on new attribute. And the first variable that we're going to look at is participant age. If you plan to enter the exact number of years for each participant, then you have to choose integer so that you can enter the age for each participant. If, let's say, you have age range, then you have to choose test. And then you can put the options here in terms of the age range. So here we put integer, and then we click on done. Let me show you, in case you want to enter a variable called age range, you press on control, you click, and go to new attribute. And what do you have to do? You just type age range. And then you can give a description if you want to. And then you choose test. And what you're going to do here is to bring the options. You can click on plus sign, and then you can type the first option. So maybe 18 to 35. And then you click on the plus, you go to 36 to 55. You click here to finish, and then you click the plus sign, and we go to 56 to 75. You click the empty space here and click plus sign, and then 76 and up. When you are done, you click on done, and then you go here and this space again, and then we're going to do for gender. So press on control, press on click, new attribute, and then here you type gender. We're going to choose test because gender is a categorical variable, right? Then you're going to bring the options here. So you click on the plus sign. For these participants, we have two groups here. We have the male and the female. And then when you are done, you click on done. So we finished gender. In terms of ethnicity, control, click, new attribute, and then you type ethnicity here. And what do you think will be the type of variable? Test, right? That will be the type of variable. And then you have two options here. You can give all the options based on the information that you collected from participants, or you can type it in, right? You have an option to type in for each participant instead of providing the options here. Let's do the second option where we are not going to provide any option and just click on done. And then when we are entering participant information, we just type their ethnicity, right? Now that we've finished entering all the attributes or the variables, what do you have to do next? You go to classification sheet, and you see that the information that we type here are now the columns. We have the name, age range, gender, ethnicity. I didn't type the years of experience, right? But for the purpose of this example, I'm not going to bring the years of experience. But you could do that. You can go to attribute and click here and press on command click and then bring the variable. Let's do that. Command click here and then years of experience. And then let me ask you, for years of experience, which one are you going to choose in terms of the type? Are you going to choose text or integer? Participant gave you the exact number of years that they have spent working. So are you going to put text or integer? You can put integer because you're going to put the exact number of years there, right? And then you click on done. So another thing that I want to show you is that in case you made a mistake, right, and you want to change the name of the variable, you can just click on it and go to command and click on it again and go to get information, and a window will be open called attribute properties, and then you can change the name if you want to. When you are done, you click on done. Let's go to classification sheet. So this is where you enter all the information that you know about participant. Before you enter the values right here, which you cannot do it because you don't have participant information here, you go to cases and you press on the first one, you press on command and select all of them, and then you press on control, click on it, and then go down. You see classification here. Now we are going to put them into that container called participants. You see, when we did that, now we have brought participant information on the classification sheet. It's just like an Excel spreadsheet having all the information about participant. Now we have their participant name, which is their ID. Then we have to enter their age. So you just click on it. This participant is 37. You click on the next one, click on it again, and then delete what you have there. The age for this participant is 55. You do the same thing for the next participant. Make sure you delete everything there. And this one is 70. You do the same thing for the next one. This person is 33. And the last one is 65. We also did age range. So you click on this one and you see this X sign here. You click on that to see the options there. This participant is between 36 and 55. You click on it, you click outside, you go here, you click on the X to give you the option. You click on 36 to 55, you click on outside. That's what you're going to do for all of them. So the gender, the same thing. You choose that this person is female, choose female, press outside. Let's do the ethnicity. So the ethnicity you have to enter because we didn't provide any option. So you delete what is there and then you're going to enter. This person is African American. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to do it for all of them, right? And then here you put the years of experience, exact year. So if I delete what is there, and then this person has spent 12 years, and then you put all the information here. So that's what you're going to do. You put all the demographic information here, and then you are done. So this is how you manually put the demographic information into NVivo, right? Let's assume that you have created an Excel spreadsheet and you have your demographic information. How do you bring that information here? The second option is very simple. You click on classification and you go to classification sheet. You click on that and then you look for that information. So I go to my desktop. I think I have that information here. See demographics and then click on open. When you open, this is what you're gonna see, right? Under classification type, you have to always change it to case classification. You have to give it a name for that container. So here you can say participant. Then you can click on next and next import. So here you see here we have imported the information. When you click on classification sheet here, you have all the information you need for the demographics. So this is how you can import your demographic information. So you just have to choose the one that you feel comfortable. You can enter the demographic information into NVivo or you can import the demographic information. Now that you are done, the next step is to start a coding process. But before you start the coding process, you have to create containers for your research questions. When you do the coding, you can put them under their respective research question, right? So ask yourself, what are your research questions? If you don't have research questions, you can use the objectives of the study or the aims of the study as a way to replace your research question if you don't have. So you bring the objective here, and then what happens is that you develop codes and put them under their respective objectives, right? There's another option for you in case you want to code based on your conceptual or theoretical framework. You could, first create a coding frame, which is a list of codes and themes that you want to use to do the analysis. And then you can create containers, right? When you bring them in NVivo, you can create containers there so that you can code and put them into that container. I have a video that I explain the strategies that you have to take in order to do it in a way that is useful and meaningful. So I put that link here so that you can click on it and also understand the strategy. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to focus on analyzing the data based on your research question. In this demonstration, we have two research questions. What are the causes of burnout among primary healthcare physicians? And then the second one, what can be done to reduce burnout among primary healthcare physicians? First, you have to have a label for your research question, right? So for the first research question, our label for the question is burnout causes. It's just a label for your research question. Any label that will remind you about your research question could be an anchor code. For the second research question, we have burnout solution as a label. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be in between 2 to 5 words representing your research question because you're going to create containers for your research question. Now that we have labeled our research question, we go back to NVivo. I go to quotes. Let me close this one and then close here. And this is a workspace for codes. This is where you're going to create all the code that you want to create. You first press on Control and click, and then you choose the first option. It's called New Top Level Code. This one in NVivo is about the parent code. It's a top level. It's a parent code because we're going to create child codes under this parent code. So we click on this one. In parentheses, we type RQ1 representing research question 1. And then we're going to type burnout causes. And then under description, we're going to paste our research question here, and then we indicate that it's research question 1. And here you're going to check aggregate coding from children. Don't worry about it right now. I'm going to explain to you later, but let me briefly explain to you right now. And if you don't understand, don't worry. I'm going to explain again. If you check aggregate coding from children, the system will automatically sum up all the significant information that have been dropped under the codes that you have, and then add everything up and put it above, right? Corresponding to the research question. So in all, it will tell you the number of significant information that has been dropped in total into the codes that you have. So it's just showing the number of significant information. And if you don't understand this one, don't worry, I'm going to explain again when we have the numbers here. So the next one that you have to think about is to click on Done. And when you click on that, you can see that we have your container for your research question 1. The next step is to create a container for your research question 2. How do you do that? You press on Control, click, and then new top level code. You click on that, and in parentheses, research question 2. You close it. And then what you have to do, you have to type the label, right? What is the label of the second research question? Burnout solution. It doesn't have a spell check, so you have to be careful when you are typing. We're going to copy and paste our second research question into the description area there. And then we indicate that it's the second research question. We check aggregate coding for children, and we click on Done. So now we have containers for the 2 research questions. Then we're going to start the coding process. How do you do the coding? This is what you're going to do. You click on Files to show all the transcript here. Then you choose the first transcript or the transcript that you want to code first. So I want to code the P1 first. So I double click on it to open, and then let me move this one a little bit here so that I get more space, right? And then go to Codes, so that I can bring the containers here for the research question, and I'll be able to do the coding. Let's start the coding process. First of all, what you have to think about is you go through your transcript and then identify information that is significant. What information is significant? Any information that will help you to address your research question is significant. So as we are going through, we see long hours. Which question do you think this one might address? The first research question or the second research question? I think it's the first research question because we are focusing on burnout causes. So as you can see here, we have a significant information that participant is talking about long hours in response to the question, how do you experience burnout? And the participant said long hours. So this information is addressing the first research question, which is about the causes of burnout. Now that we know the research question that this one is addressing, the next step that you have to think about is what label should I give to this significant information? What will be the code? What will be the name of the code? I think that having long hours best represents this information. So you have to develop a code that is representing this information at the same time addressing your research question that you have. So now that we have decided concerning the label for the code, what do you have to do? You select burnout causes, and then you press on command, click on it again, and go to new code. Click on that, and then here you can type having long hours. So I brought a quotation mark here because we are using participant own words to do the coding. Whenever you are using participant own words, just to remind you that it's their own words, I just bring a single quotation marks there for you as a coder to remember. The next one is to give a description. This is optional, you don't have to do it, but sometimes it's very important for you to do it so that it will remind you of what this code represents. So you can say this code represents participant expression of their experience of working for a long time during their shift or something like that. You just have to define the code so that you remember what the code represents. It's very important if you want to do that. You don't have to do it if you can remember or the code is so obvious for you to know what it represents. But if you are working with somebody, or if you want to, at the end of the day, create a code book that will have the definitions, then it's always important for you to give a description. So after giving the description, you just click on aggregate coding from children and then click on done. Now you can see here that under files is 0, under reference is 0. This means that it's an empty container. There's nothing in there. We have created a container, but we haven't put the significant information in there. So what you have to do is that you select that significant information and then you drag and drop it into that container. When you drop it, you see here that now it's 1. The file is 1 because we are focusing on one file. And then the reference is 1 because we have dropped one significant information into that container. If you want to see what is in this container, you select it and then you press on Control, click on it again, and go to Open. And when you click on Open, it will open the container and show what you have coded. We have coded only one information there. That's why you have long hours only there. Sometimes you have a lot, right? If you want to know the source of this information, you want to know where this information came from, you click on this blue link and it will take you to the document and it show you where that information is. So that's how you're going to do it. When you finish, you can close it so that we can go back to the document. Let's continue doing the coding. Assuming that this one is significant because it's addressing the first research question, you decide what code can we use to represent this information. The code could be having numerous work-related tasks can represent this information. So now when you decide the code, you go to the first research question, you click on it, and press Control, click on it again, and go to New Code. And then you can type your label and you can give a description if you want. Check aggregate coding from chart quotes. Then you click on done. Right. Now, what you have to do is that you select and then drag and drop that information into the respective container. That's how the coding process is going to be. If you see any information here, and let's assume that this information is about having long hours, you select and drag and drop it into the second one. Let's assume that this information is addressing the second research question. And then we think that the code that is representing this information is about engaging in meditation. Engaging in meditation. You first click on the second research question, press on Control, click on it again, go to New Code, you press on it, and then type in, you check aggregate coding from child codes, you click on Done, you select that information, and then you drag and drop it into that question. This is the strategy that you have to do. When you identify information that is significant, what you have to do is that check whether you can drop that information into an existing code. If it has nothing to do with any of the existing codes, then you create a new container and then put it in there. So that's what you're going to do through the process. When you are done with the first transcript, you close it and then you go to files, you double click on the second transcript and you go through the process again. And make sure that you click on code so that the information will be on the left side and go through. If this one is talking about something that is different from what you have here, you create a container and then put that information there. If this one is focusing on the first research question and is about having numerous work-related tasks, you put that information there. So that's how the coding process is. Remember, this is the first stage of coding. After coding, you have to think about categorizing your codes. That will be my second video. Let me show you the final product. If you want to open an existing project, you can go to Files and then click on Open Recent. And if you change your mind concerning any label that you have created, you can press on that and then go to Control, press on it again, and go to Get Info. And then you can make any changes that you want, right? Here, I want to bring the parenthesis RQ1 in front, and I'll delete the one at the back here, and done. You can see under the first research question, you can see all the code. You can also click here and see all the code that has been created. You can see that here, being a young physician, we have two here. What does this tool mean? This means two files are connected to this code and two significant information are connected to this code. And then for having numerous work-related tasks, we have two files or two participants are connected to this one, and also four significant information are connected. So if you want to know what is inside this container, you click on it, press on control, click on it again, and go to open. That will show all the information in the container. So you can see that this information is from P1. And if you want to know where exactly that you took that information, you click on that and it will take you to the document and you see where the information was extracted. And then let me close this one. And here you can also go to P2 and you see where the information was extracted. When you click on control and then go to get info, we check here aggregate coding from child codes. So as you can see here, let me close this one, because we checked that place, the system added all the significant information that has been dropped into individual codes and then brought the total amount here. So you can see that 14 means that everything added here is 14. Under research question 2 is 12. The system aggregated, added everything up, and then put it there. My next video will be categorization, how to categorize the code to develop themes. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm bringing a lot of videos that will be helpful for you, especially if you are working on your qualitative study. Thank you.